Hi friends, welcome back to The Rogue Educator, and today I am coming at you with the Breakfast Book Tag. So I invited myself, I guess, to this tag. I saw it today posted on Sophia's Thoughts. I will link her channel down below. She always has great book recommendations and excellent summaries that just kind of draw you in and make you want to read it. So yeah, she's great. I will link her down below and you can go check her out when you're finished with this video. But today she did the Breakfast Book Tag, which she in turn was tagged by somebody else. And I just thought this would be a great way to chat about some books. And I love breakfast. It's my favorite meal of the day, although I don't usually eat it all the time, but all of my favorite foods are breakfast foods. So let's just get into it. Okay, first up we have Coffee. And this is a book that is hot, but not scalding. So I don't read a whole lot of romance. It's just not my go-to genre, but this year I read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren, and this is a contemporary romance, and it just swept me off my feet. One of my favorite romantic tropes in books is the friends to lovers or hate to love trope, and this was definitely a friends to lovers. The title says it all. It's Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, so obviously we know that this is their story of how they go from friendship to something more than that. So it was a little bit hot here and there, but it was not scalding, and it was just a really sweet love story. I ate it up. It was great. All right, so number 2 is Bagel. So good, I can ignore the plot holes. All right, so Sophia mentioned this in her video too, and I am the same way. I actually don't notice plot holes. So I don't know if that makes me naive or I just get really wrapped up in a story that it doesn't even matter to me. But I actually don't have an answer for this one because plot holes just go right over my head. Maybe I'm just gullible. We'll go with something like that. Number 3 is Serial. So this is a book that is best consumed quickly. So for this one I chose the Truly Devious trilogy by Maureen Johnson. And I have the third one here. I don't own the first 2 yet. They are on my list for probably Christmas, just so they look good on my wall, on my bookshelf. Anyway, so this one's called The Hand on the Wall. The first book is called Truly Devious, and this is a mystery that takes place at an elite boarding school in Vermont. And the time period kind of bounces back and forth between the 1930s, when this major crime was committed and has gone unsolved up until the present. And students are admitted to this boarding school based on their particular passion. So they're able to pursue their passion as part of the curriculum. And it's usually, they're just like hyper focused on this one thing. So we follow our main character Stevie in the present as she is accepted to this boarding school based on her passion for the crime that was committed in the 30s. So she is now attending the boarding school where this crime happened, and she is determined to solve it. Now, I read these books as they came out, so I had to wait a year-ish between books, and it was agonizing. So I'm going to put this down for Serial. Best consumed quickly. They're very, very good. They're page turners, and boy, I should not have started reading them until they were all out. But yeah, highly, highly recommend Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Number 4 is Toast. And this is a book that got a little unexpectedly dark. So for this choice, I picked Strange the Dreamer by, sorry about the glare. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And this also includes the second book in what is currently a duology. And it's called Muse of Nightmares. And excellent, excellent books. I didn't go into them knowing a lot about where the story was going. I I just knew it was, people kept talking about how it was written so lyrically, and I like writing like that. So I enjoy fantasy. So I picked this up, and boy, did it take some dark, unexpected turns. It's an excellent couple of books. There's a sweet romance in there, and the whole thing is just it definitely gives off some nightmarish vibes. The books remind me of the nightmares and bizarre dreams that I had when I was taking oxycodone after my 2 C-sections. I had to sort of take myself off the oxycodone sooner than I probably would have liked and just take ibuprofen and Tylenol because my dreams were so bizarre. And these 2 books definitely took me to a similar place. And everything turns out well, and it has a good ending, but there's some dark stuff there in the middle. So I do recommend Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. Okay, number 5 is Oatmeal, and this is a book that makes me feel all nice and warm. So I actually picked 2 books for this one, maybe to make up for my plot holes that I don't see. The first book I picked is A Robot in the Garden. And this book I just picked up randomly at the library one day. It was on one of those displays right inside the front door, and I was like, that looks weird and cool and sweet, so I'm going to read that. And it is all of the above. Basically, our main character, I think his name is Ben. Yeah, Ben, he just is kind of failing at everything. His job's not going well, his relationships aren't going well, and one day he goes out in his garden and there's a robot. And this is a very grumpy robot, and the 2 of them eventually develop this strange kind of friendship, and they go on a quest together to find the robot's origins. So we have The Robot in the Garden. The author is Deborah Install, and I do recommend this one. It's very cute. And then the other book I picked for this one, for Oatmeal, was Fangirl, because I am a big fangirl and have spent quite a bit of time reading fan fiction over the years, starting as a teenager, still going on in my 30s, no shame. I'm a fangirl, so I really resonated with this. Rainbow Rowell really captured her main character's freshman year of college so beautifully. I just related to all of it. I related to the making friends, to the fangirls and the shipping and, you know, family dynamics. And this book is, the title maybe sounds a little bit sort of surface level, but Rainbow Rowell really tackles some deep and thoughtful and meaningful themes and topics throughout the story. So definitely recommend Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. It will make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, especially if you have been in a fandom at all ever. You'll like this. All right, let's see. Number 6. This one was a little more complicated. Juice. Pick your favorite flavor of juice and then pick a favorite book based on the color of that juice. So I am very picky about my juices. I do not like sweet juice, especially first thing in the morning. So at first I tried to find a book that was cranberry colored. I don't have any books that are cranberry colored, except there was Angels and Demons, which is great, but I read it so long ago I can't remember anything about it, except that it was sort of like Indiana Jones. So you can go check that out if you want. It was good. It was on my I read it and loved it shelf, so I must have liked it. But I ended up going with grapefruit. Yes, I really like especially fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. So I picked Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid because the spine, I don't know if it will pick it up on camera, but the spine is basically the exact color of grapefruit juice. So this is a more recent release, and it is written in sort of interview fashion, and it follows this fictional band. I didn't know if it was fictional at first. I did have to Google it. I'm sure it's based on some famous band in the 70s, but it follows this fictional band, The Six, after they broke up very abruptly in the middle of a tour. And these interviews are taking place in present day, and we don't know who the interviewer is until the end, and that's kind of a fun plot twist. And we just kind of hear the story of the relationship dynamics and the band and the songwriting and all of this, and you are just really swept up in the story of this band and the characters. Taylor Jenkins Reid really is an excellent writer of characters. And so yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six. It's a quick read because of the way that it's written and because the characters are so engaging. And I don't know if lovable is quite the right word, but you do sort of fall in love with them, and you want to know what happens to them, and you want to know why the band fell apart. So for my grapefruit choice, Daisy Jones and the Six. Our number 7 breakfast food is an egg or tofu scramble, as different ways to eat them as to live. Choose a memoir. So this is not a genre that I dabble in super often, but I did listen to one recently, and I don't know if it counts as a memoir, but we're going to count it. It's 1,000 Gifts by Anne Voskamp. And this is her story of how she just really wanted to have sort of a better perspective of God working in her life. And she had some tragedies in her childhood and was just kind of struggling to feel God's presence in her life. So she started journaling and basically just listing all of the different things that she recognized and was grateful for in her life. And her goal was to list 1,000 gifts, and she met that goal and is continuing on to this day. So this is the book, and I highly recommend it. Even if you're not an overly sort of spiritual or God-believing person, it is very encouraging. And I listened to it sort of during the beginning of all of our pandemic shutdowns, and I was feeling discouraged, and we were all sort of grieving the loss of normality, and I needed something to ground me. I needed to start focusing on things that were good about the situation or despite the situation. So it was a good mindset shift. And so if you are feeling if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling discouraged, I highly encourage you to listen to or read 1,000 Gifts by Anne Voskamp. All right, number 8. This is fancy pastries. A genre you don't read all the time, but you usually enjoy when you do. And for me, I picked contemporary, particularly YA contemporary. Again, right now in this season, I have a hard time reading contemporary because I want to escape from reality. But usually these stories, sweep me up, and they're very good, and I'm always glad that I read them. So YA or contemporary. All right, number 9, Mimosa, Moving Toward Brunch. Name a book that I am looking forward to reading. So for this, I picked A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green, and this is the, for me, much anticipated sequel to, what was it called? An Absolutely Remarkable Thing that came out, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. And then this one just came out at the beginning of July. I actually pre-ordered a signed copy because I just adore Hank's writing. I think he tackles some really good themes about society and the internet and, people working together and making choices based on the good for society and things like that. But these stories were so interesting and unique and just very contemporary, but with a definite splash of sci-fi. So if that is intriguing to you, I definitely think you should give them a try. Hank Green is John Green's brother. They do Vlogbrothers on YouTube, and they do crash course videos. So that's kind of what they're known for. John Green is also an author, Looking for Alaska, all that stuff. So this is Hank's second book, and I'm super excited. I have read like 2 pages, and I am excited to keep going on that one. All right, and number 10 is name a breakfast food that I like to eat and a book of my choice. So most of my favorite breakfast foods have already been listed, but I do really enjoy a good coffee cake. I never make coffee cake, but I live in a city that has tons of good indie coffee shops and great bakeries. So I will swing by one every now and then and pick up some really awesome coffee cake. And the book that I've chosen for this one is Songs About a Girl. This is a trilogy. There's Songs About a Girl, Songs About Us, and Songs About a Boy. I don't know if that's the right order, but these books are by Chris Russell, and I'm not sure when they came out, fairly recently. They're pretty contemporary. You know, after I've already said I don't read a lot of contemporary, but I always fall in love with them when I read them, so this was one. I think I heard about it here on BookTube ages ago, but it's a British YA contemporary, and we follow one of our main characters, Charlie, and she's super into photography. She lost her mom when she was young, and she gets swept into the world of a brand new world famous boy band that some of her acquaintances are a part of, and they ask her to be the band photographer. And it's just kind of, there's some romantic elements, and there's a lot of sort of mystery and suspense surrounding her mother's death and disappearance and her connection to music and all of that. And so super good, definitely like a warm and fuzzy quick read. Even reading all three of them is a quick read. I really liked them. So Songs About a Girl by Chris Russell. All right, well that wraps up, it's nighttime here, so that wraps up my breakfast for dinner. And I just wanted to share some favorite books with you on this evening for me. I hope you all are doing well. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I would love to see you along for my next video. Have a great night. Bye.